Wizard101's Fall Test Realm was released early morning on Monday, November 8th, along with their new, highly anticipated world, Lemuria. A group of data miners known as the Atmoplex on Twitter took advantage of this opportunity to post as many data mined spoilers as they possibly could. Game data mining is the process of reading data files by game developers to find new, unreleased content coming to a game. One of these spoilers that they made an effort to showcase was the final battle in the new world, Lemuria. Without completing the new world, the team willingly used an exploit to skip the quests and to reach the final boss. An exploit is the use of a glitch by a player to their advantage in a manner not intended by the game's designers. Exploits are also a bannable offense as written here in the Terms of Service. You agree that you will not use any device, software, or routine that interferes with the proper working of the site, or attempt to interfere with the proper working of the site. Approximately 6 hours after the release of Test Realm, the Atmoplex posts this concerning thread on Twitter. This sparked a huge debate within the Wizard101 community, with hundreds of people deeply divided by the results of the situation. The thread begins by the Atmoplex taking responsibility for their actions. They explained that they willingly used an exploit which they had planned out months in advance and knew the risks of to reach the final boss of Lemuria. Then, they also willingly asked members of their Discord server to join them. 5 players were involved in this exploit. They claim unknowingly, and 3 of those 5 players were banned. The Atmoplex also states that their account was banned too, making it 4 bans in total. They then go on to say that the devs deserve to be held accountable because these were wrong and inconsistent bans. They claim to have reached out to customer support, but kingsisle did not comply, so they felt that going to Twitter was their final resort. After reading these tweets, upset players took to the devs' personal accounts to confront and complain about unethical bans on their parts. Matt Neddick, the principal designer for Wizard101, got bombarded with many angry replies after asking the community how they were enjoying the test realm so far. Ratbeard, kingsisle's lead designer, was also faced with pressure to respond on his personal livestream. Both developers indicated that there is much more to the issue than just banning innocent players.
I feel like I might need to briefly address the exploit. I certainly hope that that Atmoplex is watching. And I've seen some people say, I can't believe that you would ban someone for finding bugs. That's not what happened. That's literally not what happened. What happened was, according to their narrative, is that they sat on an exploit they knew about, right? Planned it months in advance, knowing the consequences, right? Brought in other players, told them they'd use an exploit, and then proceeded to beat the boss for their own glorification. And by the way, spoiling it for other people. If you're upset about it, the only place to direct it is at the people who were involved in it, starting at the top, and then going down to the people who participated in it, knowingly participated in it, I should add. And the people who participated in it were aware. They were aware they were exporting. If you get an invite from somebody and they had clearly exploited the game, and they tell you that, and then you don't teleport away, yeah, that's not gonna fly.
And as a game developer, he has access to chat logs, exact times that messages were sent, etc.
And by the way, this is the crazy thing to me. You guys are playing on our servers. We know what you're doing, right? We know what you're doing. You're playing on our servers.
People also responded that Test Realm is meant for testing, so why issue bans for using this exploit? To which Matt Neddick replied, treat Test Realm exactly as you would treat Live Realm, meaning anything that can be considered a violation in the terms of use in Test Realm would meet the same disciplinary consequences as it would in Live Realm. While this isn't what I can guarantee that Wizard101 bases its justification on, it can be interpreted from the site's terms of use that the original exploiters violated the agreement by 1. Attempting discovery of the game's source code and data to find the exploit, 2. Interfering with the proper working of the game through their use of said exploit, and 3. Disclosing confidential information, Lemuria's final boss, to third parties before it became available to see through tolerable means, meaning actually completing the quests. Atmoplex, as a figure in the community, has a long history of disclosing confidential information, aka spoilers, of Wizard101 through the means of data mining. So one may question why the line was drawn with this incident, resulting in the ban of several accounts.
To some degree, we look the other way on stuff. That does not mean it's okay. It does not mean it's okay. It's simply a matter of us figuring out where we want our resources to go.
Going off surface level information, because our knowledge of what happened is really limited, I would guess that the level of offense was especially heinous in this instance due to the groundbreaking mechanics of the final boss battle of Lemuria. Skip this part of the video if you do not want to see any spoilers. An 8v4 boss battle is something that has absolutely never been seen in this game, making it something that could shock and excite players upon discovering it. And by using an exploit to uncover this hours before anyone else could, and then proceeding to upload it onto Twitter, you create the possibility of severely hindering a player's experience of the brand new world. To me, I have interpreted these bans as a protective/punishing measure from kingsisle to draw the line between building hype for the game and disclosing major spoilers that potentially ruin an experience of an entire unreleased world. And even if this isn't what kingsisle's reasoning was, it is at the very least a perspective that could make you more sympathetic towards the actions that were taken. Now, while I personally still question the inconsistent banning pattern, like why were some accounts banned and others weren't, it is far-fetched to say that there are any innocent parties in this context of justification. When you look at it from the perspective of the Terms of Use Agreement, all parties in this case made an attempt to interfere with the workings of the game by teleporting to the original exploiter without having completed the rest of Lemuria. Atmoplex's use of the word randoms is perhaps purposefully misleading in their explanation, as it implies that the innocent randoms had no idea what they were getting into, when I feel that it is a stronger possibility that they knew unauthorized measures were taken to arrive to the final boss, yet made the decision to take part in it anyway. Atmoplex themselves stated, "We then proceeded to ask random members of our community Discord server to help us defeat this very difficult boss." Atmoplex also stated, "These members did not know until later that we gained access to the zone via a means of an exploit." It is questionable whether someone can be deemed innocent in this case, as being able to arrive to the final boss of Lemuria in an extremely short amount of time is suspicious. And the members of the Atmoplex community are informed of the measures that the Atmoplex takes in order to uncover unseen Wizard101 content. Do you think that these players genuinely thought that Atmoplex arrived at the final battle through legitimate means? This is where our factual knowledge of events ends, so we are only left claims of facts given out by the Atmoplex. All of this is simply speculation, and I don't claim any fact to it whatsoever, but with the evidence we have, this is a subjective conclusion that I've drawn. If these players truly had no idea what they had gotten themselves into, then of course they shouldn't be banned, and my heart really does go out to them. But there's reason for skepticism about this due to the Atmoplex's very well-known methods of data mining the game in order to see content that other people can't. So with that in mind, I find it easier to believe that these players willingly engaged in illegitimate means of accessing test realm content. And for that, I can see why the discipline was justified. On the day following the bans, Atmoplex promised the community undeniable video evidence that the banned players were innocent in their actions, which would soon be uploaded to their YouTube channel. However, we heard nothing else after that, and it would be days before we received any meaningful update, as it wasn't until Thursday of that week that the bans were lifted from the innocent players' accounts and replaced with 3-month suspensions. Although Atmoplex considered this a small victory, they still persisted in their narrative that the players should not be receiving any discipline whatsoever. They called kingsisle's actions to be that of bad taste, and they still demanded the complete exoneration of the now suspended accounts. Atmoplex then promised once again to release a video illustrating the innocence of the players. kingsisle's act to change the ban to a 3-month suspension may indicate that they are choosing to act in good faith. Perhaps these players truly didn't know what means were used to get to the battle, and maybe they only participated with the intention to help. Whether this is really true is questionable, considering once again that this occurred only a few hours after Test Realm was released. But kingsisle may have chosen to act out of kindness instead of through assumption. It's also worth considering that this could be a move to save face. It's not a good public look to ban veteran players who may have had no prior offenses to their accounts. Regardless of why they chose to revoke these bans, it is ultimately an act of mercy that perhaps the disciplined accounts should be thankful for. But despite the bans having been revoked, Atmoplex kept their promise and released a video on the evening of November 13th, 5 days after the initial bans. The video starts out by giving a full, in-depth explanation of what was also explained in the thread previously shown. They continue to argue that these bans made by kingsisle are inconsistent due to a past exploit existing in the Imperia Part 2 final fight, which did not result in any bans despite being widely used by multiple players, some of which were even posted on social media, like that of the final Lemuria fight. They reiterate that they expected the ban of the exploiter account, but they demand that these 3 innocent accounts should be unbanned immediately.
kingsisle, where is the consistency? We demand that these innocent people are unbanned immediately. The ban of the exploiter account is completely acceptable and, in fact, had already been expected. We are only disputing for the innocent players who simply teleported to someone they had just added on test realm.
In the actual video evidence that was so eagerly anticipated, the exploit is shown.
Where do you want us to meet? Voice chat? Okay, give 1 sec. Aggressive clicking.
They add each other by using true friend codes, and then they begin the battle.
Let's try it. Let's try the...
Oh, thank God I didn't.
Yeah, you might as well try. Assuming people can port in, hopefully they
I can port in, I just ported.
Okay.
Really?
We're actually about to do this.
Alright, yeah.
I don't know if that's quick because I joined late or what, but...
Well, it's happening to me too. I didn't even have any pips.
Okay, I'm banned.
Yeah, I think it's the aura. Or...
I just got banned.
You did?
Oh no.
Yep.
Alright guys, you have to finish it on your own.
Good luck.
Are they gonna ban our accounts now for porting in?
No,
Probably not.
only Ben.
The video evidence provided by the Atmoplex seems to do little to prove the innocence of these banned players. In fact, it actually seems to further incriminate them. When the presumed original exploiter gets their account banned, the other players ask if their accounts will be banned as well for porting into the battle. They are answered with, no, probably not. This very point in the video seems to contradict what the Atmoplex has been claiming all this time, that the players did not know an exploit was performed until after the battle was over with. It is apparent here that during the battle, all of the players were made aware of the fact that an unauthorized action was taken to get to this final battle. Yet these players chose to stay anyway. Can we really call this innocent?
Yes, everyone exploited, by the way. Everyone did. There were no innocent players in that scenario. Nobody who used that exploit was doing it to help us find bugs. They sat on it for months. They planned it out. They even took steps to try to disguise their account. They didn't tell the dudes that they called in, by the way, that they were protecting their own butts, and they sort of hung their guys out to dry 3 times, basically. They used them for their own PR purposes 3 times. If I was those guys, I'd be more than a little bit unhappy that I was getting used for clickbait three times over. Yeah, the hat trick of stupidity is what I call it. Nothing like letting the Atmoplex guys use you over and over and over again for their own aggrandizement. Yet no one was helping find a bug on Test Realm. That's not what happened. They knew the bug was there. They had months to tell us. They didn't. They exploited it. And if you teleport to someone who's using an exploit, yeah, that you're just sort of implicated in that. So.
Do you agree with kingsisle's reactions to punish these players? Or do you think that they should completely exonerate them from this case? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Thank you for watching. Bye!